Someone said light coverage for foundation versus full coverage for foundation. I know for me, had you asked me that even 5 years ago, I would have had no idea what you were talking about, and I would have just said, I don't know, how about medium, because I didn't know what it meant. So in this Minute with Mary video, I'm here to show you on half of my face full coverage, half of my face light coverage, and to let you know the differences, just in case you yourself are in the market to try something new, or if you just wanted to know, because heck, learning about things empowers you, right? So come on and join me. I'm wearing just a nice little cozy sweater. I'm going to be looking kind of crazy since half of my face will be one thing and half of it the other, but do me a favor. Put hashtag hello lovely, whether you're watching this live or on the replay. It's a great way for you to give me a little wave over the internet, help me boost my algorithm as I am running towards a massive goal this here month. I'm running for a promotion. The date that we're live doing this, November 14th. I've got the whole month of November, and I am 45% of the way there, so I'm really, really excited about this. So thank you in general for your support of watching these videos, of commenting with that hashtag hello lovely, whether you've made a purchase from Minute with Mary or not. I'm just so thankful for your support. So come on in, let me know if this video is working and looking okay. Blake did tweak the settings a little bit, so I just want to make sure that the video and the audio is syncing perfectly. So if someone wouldn't mind writing that in the comments, I would greatly appreciate it, because I don't want it to go a little crazy since my internet has been a little wonky. Hi Gloria, how are you? Great to see you. Let me know how this is sounding and looking, Gloria, because as I said, Blake tweaked a couple little things and I want to make sure that it's working before I start to put a lot of stuff all over my face. I don't want to do anything bananas. Hi Karen, how are you? So I'll get things a little started before I put something on, but let me know, as I said, if the stuff is kind of looking proper on your end and sounding, and then I will start to apply it on my face. So when it comes to foundations, as I said, there is light coverage and then there is full coverage. Light coverage means it's just a little kind of light dusting of the product on your face, and it can be matte, meaning there's very little shine to it, kind of the dewy, less dewy of it, or it can be dewy, which has kind of this wet, youthful look. I don't want to say wet, but like if you took a little bit of water, sprayed it on your face, that right there is dewiness, as if you were out and kissed in the dew. Okay, it's better now. Let's hope that it keeps working. Let me know if we're all good, because I saw that something was acting up and I want to make sure, as I said before, I put a whole bunch of stuff on my face. Video is working fine here. Awesome. Looks synced. Great. Thank you guys so much. So there's matte finish and then there is dewy finish. The light coverage means that a lot of your natural coloring will shine through. So for me, I have Celtic heritage mostly, so I've got a lot of the freckles, the fair skin, all that kind of stuff. I am starting to get also some age spots. It's just happening over time. They do get to be a little camouflaged since I have lots of freckles, so I don't necessarily become super conscious about my age spots, but I do know that some people do. So that might be something that people would want more fuller coverage for, or to conceal. Maybe people don't like the redness in their skin. Maybe it's, you know, kind of all over the place. There may be rosacea, there may be acne or scarring that would be on someone's face that the light coverage doesn't necessarily give them the confidence boost that they want. So the full coverage is going to be the opposite. It's going to be taking care of all of those freckles, all those age spots, really covering any of the discoloration. There's a big difference between the discoloration and the texture of your face. Texture of your face, the makeup can cover, but it doesn't necessarily help you not see it. You know, if you have raised areas or sunken areas, primer is going to help, skincare is going to help, and also kind of having more of a matte finish will help with that texture aspect. But we're talking about the amount of natural coloring that is shining through. So I'm going to do this side with light coverage and this side with full coverage. So when it comes to light coverage options, you got a couple of different things to go with. You could, for example, use something like a BB Flawless BB cream. This is just like a hydrating tinted foundation. As I said, just to really give you that nice youthful glow. This is my favorite when it comes to someone who's using makeup for the first time. Someone who doesn't know what it's like to have a really blank canvas, really still wants some of that natural flush to shine through. Teenagers, those of you who are more makeup minimalists, this is also my favorite for those of you who have a lot of texture in your skin with fine lines or large pores, even if this is as a base. Hi Teresa, how are you? Thanks for coming on. You do want to make sure, no matter what foundation you put in your face, that you apply some type of face primer. So I have a hydrating face primer for my friends who have dry skin. I have a mattifying primer for my friends who have more oily skin and large pores. Lots of great different options out there for you. But you do allow the primer to go on your face and you let that dry for about 3 to 5 minutes, so that way it can really fill in those pores and those fine lines as best as it can to create a smooth canvas before you apply your foundation. So anytime you work with a liquid or cream foundation, I want to shake it like a Polaroid picture, because that way we make sure all of the ingredients are good and mixed up. You know what's so funny? As I've had short hair for so many years that I forget that I need to tie my hair back before I do some of these tutorials. So I'm just going to take a little bit of BB cream in my finger. Remember I said that this is a great option for those of you who are makeup minimalists or newbies, because you can use your clean hands. You can also use, where did I put that little guy? A damp blending sponge. This is another great option. You can use a kind of foundation brush. Generally though, when you use a tool like a blending bud or a brush, it is going to soak up a little bit of the product. I'm just going to give you a heads up, because if you're someone who wants to use your hands, there's an advantage to using your hands. Your hands don't really soak it all in. We don't have a porous substance, a porous texture to our hands, so I do frequently like to use my hands. BB cream is perfect for weekend errands too. Exactly. It just kind of tones down your face, the BB cream. It just kind of makes you look a little bit more polished. So for me, with my Celtic skin, I've got a little bit of extra redness pretty much everywhere in my face. And I find for me that the BB cream just tones that down. And you can see it's adding that nice, youthful, dewy finish to my face. And I can apply it with my fingers. So you do not have to worry necessarily about adding a lot of extra makeup on, because you can see my freckles shining through. You can see, a lot of my natural pink cheeks that I have shine through, but I get like really red right here on my chin. So I just wanted you to see what this light coverage covers. I obviously have loads of freckles on my nose, and I'll add a little bit underneath my eyes right here. It's just really, really great hydrating product. Now, when I wear BB cream, I still do choose to wear a concealer, just because underneath my eyes, being a mom of 2 kids in a pandemic, like, let's be real, it just kind of gets crazy, right? I often choose to amp up more of that fuller coverage when it comes to my eye area, but for the purpose of this video, I'm not going to put it on, because I really want you to see the difference of it. Once again, there's no right, there's no wrong, it just comes down to personal preference. But you can see the dewiness, you can see how it toned down a little bit. I'm just going to try to make like a nice crisp clear line on my face. I didn't really do too much of my nose with BB cream, but just toned things down a little bit. Really, really skin-like, really nice and natural. And I love this, like our friend said, just to make sure that you can get out the door, have some errands, and you don't have to worry about things. If there are areas of concern, like a pimple, like an age spot, like few little things here or there, but for the most part you want to do natural, what I would do is I would recommend that you get a concealer in your skin tone. Like for me, I would get my Organza concealer. And if I really wanted to cover, say, this little age spot right here, I might kind of go in and just dab just a little bit of that there and blend it with either my finger or a blending brush or a blending bud, and just kind of cover that up. You can even apply it before you apply the BB cream. You can do this even with your under eye concealer. So if you do have just a spot here or there and you really don't want to worry about doing full coverage, that's the way to do it. Get a concealer in your same skin tone and just blend it, and you will be good to go. All right, you ready to see the difference with the full coverage? I'm excited. So when it comes to light coverage, I have my BB cream. I have my pressed powder, which can take you light to full coverage, just depending upon how much product you use. But if you did want to go for a matte light coverage, you would just take the product with some kind of a fluffy brush and just lightly, loosely apply it to your face on top of that face primer, and you would have now a matte light coverage. Depending upon the tool that you use with your pressed powder is going to give you a more full coverage variety. Also, you can use my stick foundation, which I had taken out and now I don't see it, but my stick foundation, once again, just depending upon how much of the product you use, can give you that light to full coverage. That one also has a dewy finish. My new Serum Infused liquid foundation, this has more of a light to medium kind of coverage. It's a very, very soft feeling skincare infused product. All of my newest products honestly do have skincare infused in them. So if you're really trying to make sure that you're getting the most bang for your buck in regards to anti-aging, making sure that your skin stays as youthful as possible, that is something that you want to keep in mind as well. All right, so who here watching has used one of my Minute with Mary foundations? And if so, put that in the comments below. And for fun, let me know where you're tuning in from, because I want to hear what the weather's like. We here in Rhode Island had crazy, crazy weather yesterday. So I love to see where people are tuning in from and what your weather's like. So we talked about my BB Flawless BB Cream, my pressed powder, my stick foundation, my new Serum Plus foundation, and last but not least, my spray foundation. So for those of you who truly want a full coverage, you like a satin finish, feel like there's very little to nothing on your face, this is going to be your jam. But it's not flexible in the sense that it can't take you light to full. It's just going to go straight to full. All right, it is a spray, so I am going to shake it up. And there's a little ball inside there, almost like a spray can paint. So I'm going to give it a good old shake, as I haven't used this one in quite some time. As I said, I err more on the side of light to medium. Shake it one more time. I err more on the side of light to medium coverage, as I do like to have some of my freckles shine through. But for teaching purposes, I'm going to go to town for you all. Now, when you do choose a more fuller coverage foundation, I personally like to match closer to your neck and your chest, being that it's going to blend all into one big palette. A lot of us have a lighter neck than our face. Our face frequently has loads more pigmentation, whether it's freckles, age spots, even redness and pink to it, than our neck. So if you've never done full coverage before, or if you've never seen me do full coverage before, just hold on tight. For a little while, I am going to look like Casper the Friendly Ghost. And the first time you put on full coverage foundation, you may look at yourself and say, oh my gosh, I'm ghastly. But I will challenge you. I will challenge you to see if you actually match right here. Because as you do that full coverage, you do need to keep in mind that you do need to add in some contouring and blush to add in that dimension back to your face that kind of goes away as you create this nice blank canvas. But what's going to be great about it is because you match your neck and your chest, it's going to look seamless and give you beautiful coverage like you've never seen before. So we've got Florida, we've got Virginia, 52 and breezy, Long Island. I have one of each of the foundations. Awesome. Which one's your favorite? You know what's crazy is I'm not seeing names, so I'm gonna have to like check this out. As I said, Blake just kind of tweaked things for me recently, and it just says Facebook user. How boring is that? Facebook user. I want to know who it is. I'm gonna have to like switch something so I can see. Oh, you know what? I can, because I brought my iPad. So I'm gonna switch it and see it so I can make sure that I could see who's saying a little something here or there. All right. Dun, 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 dun. We'll see if I can figure this out. No, I probably can't. All right, we're gonna just go to town and I'm gonna figure that out in a moment. So spray foundation can be applied in a couple of different ways. You are going to want to use a kabuki brush or a damp blending bud. Both of these are great surfaces on which to apply your foundation. I like to use both. I will say if you have textured skin, so a lot of pores, a lot of scarring, just, you know, texture to your skin, a damp blending bud is super, super great for that, just because it really presses and melds it into your skin. You can spray directly onto your tool of choice, or you can spray onto the back of like a mirror or the back of some kind of a little clean compact like that. Pressed powder is still your fave. I know, it's so good. It's so good. So I'm gonna just spray it as I had done before on the back of just this little tool right here. The reason that I've been doing this recently is I just find that I can take my brush and actually pat it like this to make sure that I get product all over the tips of the bristles of the brush. And it's just even rather than spraying the product into the brush bristles itself. When you're doing foundation, start in the center of your face and then blend outward. We don't want to have a mask look to your face. All right, that's not what we're going for. I see some people will just do this, and that's fine too, but I'm just telling you a couple of different ways to do it. When you do this, you do get more product on it. Look at that, crazy, crazy, crazy good. All right, so I am toning down a lot of the redness in my face. As I said, with that Celtic heritage, I got loads of pink going on in that face, and if I'm really trying to do full coverage foundation, I am trying to ideally match more of that neck and chest so that way it looks like a nice blank canvas and it doesn't look like my head is a completely different color. We've all seen those people out in public who, God bless, they look like they're wearing makeup, right? If you're like me and your ears get a little pink, you can also take some of that makeup and apply it onto your ears. Not everybody does it. I don't think you totally need to, but if you're like me and you get pinkness on your face when you're nervous, anything like that, that is an extra little tip and trick that you can do. Now, what's really awesome when you're doing these foundations that are more fuller coverage is you don't necessarily have to do under eye concealer. You can. It will give a different brightness to it if you're trying to highlight. But if you're in a pinch or you just want to have foundation and not concealer, since you're doing full coverage, you have got it covered. Hi, Patricia. How are you? Hey, Rachel. So I can see your names, but I can't see everybody else's. And then I go a little bit onto my neck, but as I said, my goal was to blend so that it was nice and seamless. So this right here is a pretty good representation. I could do a little bit more right there where my hardcore freckles are. I see you. I see you popping through. And darkness under my eye. I see you. Gotcha, little suckers. And what's awesome about this foundation, as I said, is it's super, super light. It's air light. You don't feel anything to it. So, but you can tell, like, look how much pink is on this side. So, when it comes to personal preference, if you're someone who wants the blank canvas, who really wants to be able to seamlessly create your work of art, you know, put on the blush and the contouring and do all the things you want to do, or maybe you have rosacea, or you have really pesky age spots, or just things that you're not confident about and you want to have that blank slate, this would be the way to go. Okay, full coverage foundation will be the way to go. If on the flip side, you like a lot of your natural coloring, you don't mind the things that kind of shine through in your face, you don't mind having those freckles, age spots, your natural flush, or if you don't want to have to deal with all the time that it's going to take to make this not a blank canvas, then more light to medium coverage is going to be your jam. I can see a crazy difference. I definitely can. So I'm going to share with you how I fix this so it doesn't look like Casper the Friendly Ghost, so it doesn't look bananas, because as I said, if you've never worn full coverage foundation before, the first time you do it, you're going to say I look washed out, because you are. You literally just created this most beautiful blank canvas with which you get to add things onto. But if you've never done it before, it takes a little leap of faith, and we do need to fix that. So you can contour, which is taking a darker color of foundation or concealer and kind of chiseling out those aspects of your face. So I'll do that for you right now. When you are choosing to contour, if you have a liquid or cream foundation, you can use a liquid or cream or even powder on top. Liquids and creams always go on the bottom, and then powders go on top. If you're just using all powders, have a blast. But what I don't recommend you do is do powders and then liquids on top. It's just going to get all sorts of muddy. Nobody wants that. All right, let's do some contouring, shall we? I am going to go for, is this the one? Good. This is the one I want. So I'm going to use stick foundation. This is the color Chenille. And when you're contouring is different than bronzing. So bronzing makes it look like you were outside, hanging out, getting some tan, whereas contouring is about adding dimension. So when I do create more of that blank canvas, full coverage look, I lose a bit of the dimension, and it almost makes my face look wider and bigger because it's flat. It's flat color-wise compared to this side that has a bit more dimension. So once again, it's not that this is good, this is bad, or vice versa. It just comes down to what is it that you're hoping to accomplish. If you're trying to really create a flawless canvas, then you're going to go for more of a full coverage, but it just takes a little bit more work to make it look that way. All right, so I'm going to go with my stick foundation. I'm going to find where my cheekbone starts to sink in, and it's right there. It's generally like around your hairline where it meets your ear, and you're just going to do a little something like that. You're not going to go anywhere where the beard area would be, as that is just going to drag down your face. And then if you do want to contour your nose, watch me get interrupted by a child. Oh no, thought they were outside with daddy. This is why I don't usually go live on Sundays. Go be with daddy. Yes, don't come in here. Thank you. Oh, they listened. They listened. It's like a Christmas miracle. So I do right here, it's going to help my cheekbone be a little bit more stand out a little bit more. It's going to help slim down my face. I also have a large forehead, and when I create this blank canvas, it kind of stands out a little bit more. So I like to go right along the hairline, and it's going to make this almost look like I have a shadow. By using a darker shade than my regular foundation, it creates the look of a shadow, like my forehead isn't as long or as tall as that is. You can also go underneath your chin to create that kind of shadow look if you wanted to, you know, get rid of a little bit of a double chin, or once again, just to add a little bit more definition to your face. You can also contour underneath your lip to create that shadow, and it's going to make it look like your lip is fuller. And I'm going to go right down along the side of my nose. So you can see my natural nose shadow is like around here. You can actually fudge that a little bit if you want your nose to look a little smaller and draw the shadow line a little further in. And that's what I'm going to do. Just be careful on this part. There we go. Awesome sauce. So then you blend. Now, I wanted to make sure that I did this video tonight because tonight is the last night of my foundation sale. I have my foundation bundled together with either concealer or a face brush. All of the face brushes are included in it for 50% off essentially. So if you do have a favorite and you want to grab a backup because it's on sale, or if you wanted to try something new, or even if you wanted to gift it to somebody for the holidays, this is the time to get it. I'm a firm believer in having, whether it's skincare or foundation or even toothpaste, if you have something that you use frequently, I always believe you need to have the backup. I feel like we all learned that after last year and all the craziness stuff that happened. So if you are someone who uses my foundation and you realize I don't have a backup of my favorite foundation, this is your call to get it while it's on sale, my friend. All right, so I'm just gonna blend out. I have totally, because full coverage foundation isn't my norm for me personally, I have definitely left the house forgetting to blend. And Blake's like, what's wrong with you? Why do you have a line underneath your chin? Because it was my contour line that I completely forgot to blend. Goodness, goodness. So have you ever tried contouring? Have you ever tried it before? It takes a little bit of practice and it takes a lot of blending. But once you get used to it and you add the other elements to your makeup, it really, really, as I said, adds that dimension to your face. So right now it looks kind of funny because I need to add everything else in. But what you're doing is you're adding that fake shadow line. You're adding in the dimension to your face. You can even go back with the foundation brush that you had and make sure that there's no harsh edges. Fun little thing that you can do with makeup. Don't want to ever have it let them see like where something begins and something ends. All right, now we're gonna go in with blush. So once again, I've got a lot of pink on my face. It's just how it was made. I love it. I'm normally good with it. But when I'm going to be speaking, or I'm on camera, or I'm at a wedding and I know I'm having my photo taken, I do not want all my redness to shine through. That is when I do choose to have more full coverage foundation. So because of that, I need to add some more back to my face. So what I'm gonna do is actually pick a little bit of blush. I'm choosing this shade right here. It's, oh, that's not the one I wanted. Where are you? Goodness, goodness. I had it all out. Well, it might end up being this one. This one will be fine. It's like this one. There we go. I'm using a retired shade, so sorry. If you end up liking this one, I can point you in the direction of one that's just like it, but alas, you can't get this one because I'm showing off one that I don't have, but it's close to the one that I wanted. All right, so when you take your blush, you've got your contour line. As I said, you're gonna feel right where that cheekbone starts to kind of concave in, right kind of where your hair meets your ear. Then it's going to go blush. So almost think about it as Neapolitan ice cream, chocolate, strawberry, and then a little bit of vanilla. So I'm just gonna take a little bit of that blush. Fun fact, when you're getting blush with your brush, who are we, Dr. Seuss? Not only do you tap your brush and you kind of rotate it so you make sure all the bristles have that goodness on it, but I like to then pat it. I know that this is a mirror. I can't use that mirror anymore, right? Can't even see it, but I make sure, once again, just like I was doing before, that I want to make sure that product is all over the brush. So often I see people just kind of like dip their brush into the product and it's super, super concentrated on one spot. So that doesn't really get the job done. So I want it all over the brush. And I'm just doing light upward strokes on that kind of high point of the cheekbone. Fun fact, if you're someone who does suffer from dark under eyes or eye bags, having a bit extra of blush is gonna help kind of hide from that. It's gonna help distract the eye. So I do love blush, which is hysterical because my face is already super flushed. But I think that that's why I like blush. I'm used to seeing pigment on my face. So I'm carefully placing it here first. I even bring it up personally a little bit above my eyebrow. And then I even take a big, fluffy, clean brush and I blend it out. But I love the way that it just kind of adds a little pop of color to my face, especially this time of year when I'm super duper pale. It just feels a lot more natural to me. And then, as I said, I just take a big, fluffy, setting powder brush or something like that, but I make sure it's clean, doesn't have pressed powder or anything in it, and I just blend it. If you don't hear anything else from me, I want you to hear that when you want to succeed with makeup, you need to make sure you blend. Blending is going to be a huge, huge key to it. You don't want to see any harsh lines unless you're trying to do something like a cut crease or a fun eyeliner. But that just added such a nice definition to my cheek, having that contour and that blush. Can you see it? I know I blended a lot of that color a bit out, but for me, I just love having that nice pop. So let me know in the comments below if you can see where all that blush placement went. I'm going to blend this nose a little bit. It looks a little ridiculous since only one side of my nose is contoured, but hey, that's life. Oh yay, thank you, Rachel, you can see it, perfect. All right, so we've got the contour, we've got the blush. As I said, when it comes to full coverage foundation, you do not have to then do your concealer. You could if you want to. It will help make a big difference. If you wanted to brighten things up a wee smidge, what I would do if I really wanted to make it pop is I would put a little bit like right here in the inner corner, and then I might even do a little bit here to lift. If you're trying to brighten your eye, area, you want to go 1 to 2 shades lighter. And I should have done this before I did my blush, but I'm breaking a rule. Remember I said no liquids after powder? Well, luckily I'm not applying it on top. I just realized I wanted to show you the difference that this makes. Because when I do concealer on my light coverage side, I don't necessarily do a light color. I generally will do it the same color as my foundation, as I don't want it to pop too much. But as you go for more fuller coverage foundation, you can really kind of play with how dramatic you want it to be, how bright you want it to be. Now, most of us do have our discoloration on this inner portion of our eye. So I find if you add some light there, it really, really brightens it up, helps you look more awake, helps you look more youthful. And then right here, you can kind of see, I put it on that more outside lifted portion of my eye to create that Neapolitan ice cream effect that I was talking about, that chocolate and strawberry and vanilla. And this is going to help lift that cheekbone. As I said, I should have done this before my blush. So do as I say, not as I do. But you're gonna get to see the visual point of it all. So it's just really adding this nice lift. And I even bring some of it underneath that eyebrow just to really brighten that whole eye. But it makes a massive, massive difference. Now, when you're doing any foundation, you are going to want to make sure that you set it. Think about your makeup like a sandwich, okay? And the makeup is the yummy goodness inside of it. I mean, trust me, I'm a lover of bread. I believe that bread is one of the greatest gifts to the world. But when you're making a sandwich, it's really what's in between it. But when you think about the bread of the sandwich, that is your primer, and then that is your setting product. If you want your makeup to last, no matter if it's light coverage or if it is fuller coverage, no matter where you are in that journey, you do want to make sure that it's sandwiched between a primer and a setting product to give it long-lasting wear, to make sure it doesn't come on and off as you're hugging people or putting a mask on and off, and to really make it look its best. So if you're trying to stick with a dewy finish, remember that look that we were talking about on this side, I would recommend that you use something like setting spray. It's like hairspray for your face. You apply it, and if you've never used setting spray before, the first time you do it, you're gonna be like, what did I just do? I just sprayed my face. I might have ruined all of my makeup. You won't. It dries really, really quickly, and it just locks the makeup in place. This is one of my favorite things, particularly for humid environments, or as I said, if you're really trying to, if you have a dewy finish with your foundation and you want to keep it dewy, you will choose the setting spray. And if you're choosing a more matte look, or if you want to keep, more of this satin finish, I would choose a setting powder. It's not going to add any color. It's not going to add any extra fullness to your foundation, but it will mattify your face if you're someone who battles texture. So once again, large pores or texture from uneven, scarring, anything like that, having a little dusting of translucent setting powder will mattify it, so it won't necessarily highlight your texture. Even if you only use it a little bit underneath your eyes and in this kind of area of your pores where a lot of them get a little bigger, it'll make a massive difference. You definitely want to set with some kind of a powder. These more fuller, more liquidy type of foundations, it just makes a massive difference. You can set it with a pressed powder foundation to really amp up that coverage even more, or as I said, a translucent setting powder. So I just take a little dusting. I always, always, always set my concealer, because that little sucker, I don't want him to crease. I don't want it to go anywhere, right? We want it to stay put and do its job. And then I like to set right in where I get my large pores. And then I go and I take a little bit bigger, fluffier of a brush, and I just do a light dusting everywhere else. For me, this really locks it in, helps battle against any oil, and it just kind of mattifies the look just a smidge. So here's where I need your help. Which look do you prefer? Do you prefer the light coverage or the full coverage? Ooh, something's outside my door. It's probably one of my kids, but I'm pretty sure I locked my door. Don't worry, my husband's here, Blake is here. I'm not being a bad mom, but I did need a little me time. I am going to show you what the concealer looks like if you were to choose the same shade as your foundation, just to show you a more natural concealer look. So I'll do the same placement right there in that inner kind of corner where I do have a lot of discoloration, and even a little bit right here to add a little lift. But which type of coverage do you prefer? Light coverage or full coverage? And I can go back and forth. As I said, I'm more someone who, if it's just my day-to-day, I go for a light coverage. I like that it takes less time. But if I am going to be going somewhere where it's a special event, or if I'm going to have any photos taken, I will go for the more fuller coverage. And it really just comes down to personal preference. What do you like to see? Are you someone who does have a bit of discoloration or things that don't make you feel that confident, and you do want to have that blank canvas? Because if so, it's worth it. It's worth it to do the full coverage. But when you do full coverage, I'm going to urge you, really make sure you do that primer and that setting product. Right, there you go. So that's more of the more natural looking when it's concealer. I do, no matter what, still set it with a little bit of setting powder. So that way it helps kind of control that shine, as that's going to help diffuse the look of the physical under eye bag, but it's also going to lock that concealer in place so it doesn't go anywhere. But aside from that, that's all I would do on that side of my face. So I do want to remind you, if you need foundation, whether it is the backup for your favorite, whether you want to try something new, or if you've never tried my foundations before, tonight, Sunday night, is the last night for my foundation sale. It is about 50% off. You get to bundle a foundation of your choice. So let's say you wanted the BB cream with either a concealer of your choice or a face brush of your choice, and it's $50, and that's essentially 50% off. Then you can upgrade it if you'd like and get a primer, whether it's hydrating or mattifying. So the total will be $70. It would ship for free. You're gonna be able to take care of all this makeup. And one of the biggest things that I want to tell you is that I make sure you love it. All of my products comes with a 14-day risk-free guarantee if you do not 100% love it. If, God forbid, I did the color match wrong, which I generally don't do. I generally nail it on the first time. But if, the color matching isn't exactly perfect, or if you don't like how it looks on you, we get you 100% of your money back, or we can switch it up for another product. I believe that you work way too hard to spend your money on something that you do not 100% love. And my goal is to help you feel really, really confident. So thank you so much for tuning in. Let's see, Jody says, I like full on myself. I have a lot of sun damage. Exactly. So I totally understand that, Jody. My friend, once again, I can't see the name all the time, says, I love the lighter color coverage. Rachel says, you're nowhere near a bad mom. Thank you. And Rachel says, for me, it depends on what I'm doing. Light coverage for just chill days or errand days. Yeah, so you can see, once again, when I first put this on, if you've been watching this video since the very beginning, when I first put on the full coverage side with my spray foundation, don't even know where I just put the bottle. Here we go. With the spray foundation, I looked like Casper the Friendly Ghost. It almost looked yellow compared to this side of my face where I have so much pink shining through. But really, it's what matches my skin. This is actually a neutral shade, so it has a little bit of a yellow, a little bit of pink to it, and that's naturally what I am. This side allowed my age spots, my freckles, all the kind of pinkiness in my face to still shine through to give me just that natural little glow. I did more of a natural look for the concealer, whereas here I did more of that highlight pop. But by adding this dimension, it really still allows my face to look more like me, or if I wanted to alter it a little bit and like make things a little bit more exaggerated, I could do that too. So it's pretty cool. It's really neat what you can do with makeup. And that's why I sometimes recommend people, even if you have a tried and true favorite, to maybe try something else. If BB cream is your favorite, for example, I do recommend that you get a pressed powder in your shade, and you get a big fluffy setting powder brush for it, because doing a light dusting of pressed powder on top of BB cream, oh my gosh, if you have large pores, lots of fine lines, lots of texture, but you're finding that a lot of foundations still do sink in it even when you use primer, because some people do. It's just a lot. I have a few pores. I have like one here, I have a couple here. They're just like really, really large pores. I either have to make sure that I kind of put the primer everywhere and then kind of just pat it in those areas, or I do what I just said, put on some BB cream, take a little bit of pressed powder, and it is the match made in heaven. I absolutely, absolutely love that. I think everybody who gets a foundation from me should at some point get the pressed powder. It's very, very convenient. It has a little compact, it has a mirror with it, it comes with a little sponge so you can kind of touch up on the go. It's great to use as a little dusting over any of the foundations as well. So there you have it, my friends. Thank you so much for tuning in. I am going to be going live more this week. We just had a pretty crazy week this past week, so sorry I haven't been able to pop in as much, but I do appreciate you. I appreciate all of your support, and I hope that you have a most wonderful Sunday. Thanks again for tuning into This Minute with Mary. I'm going to go wash my face off since I look like Two-Faced, but to end things up, this was the light coverage side, where you can see it's just toned things down a little bit, but my natural coloring does shine through. Great for makeup newbies, makeup minimalists, teenagers, people who have a lot of crepiness in their skin and they want that extra hydration. And then this side right here was my more full coverage, so I really canceled out the age spots, any of my freckles, created a blank canvas, but I had to go back in and add that dimension with the contouring, with the blush. But because I created a blank canvas, I've got to add the dimension where I wanted. And there you go, you get to kind of see the side by side of what light coverage looks like on me versus full coverage. So thanks again for tuning in, and I hope that you have a great night.